I'm going to do a small section pot. Normally these would be done much larger, but just for demonstrative purposes I'm going to do it small. So you're going to start the same way that you would, with any pot. You're going to center it. You're going to open it up. And in this case, I'm going to almost make like a bowl shape. I'm going to push all the way to the wheel head. I'm going to pull up. And I want this wall as even as I can get it, because the next part is going to be putting this on top of another piece. So I want it really even. Doesn't have to be straight up and down, but you don't want it out too far. So this kind of technique is used for people that can't center larger amounts of clay. Also, sometimes if you're doing really big section pots, you can only put your hand so far in. So if you make a section pot where the first section is as tall as your shoulder, that's kind of the limit of how deep you can throw. So somebody might be using those to throw deeper. So this section I'm going to make pointy. So I've got a pointed part up here. I'm going to cut the skirt off. I'm going to cut almost all the way through, but not quite. I'm going to leave a little bit of clay down at the bottom that'll hold it on the wheel head when I flip this upside down. So pull that to the side. I'm going to start another one then. This will be the bottom section. So I'm not going to pull all the way through to the bottom of this one because I want to have a bottom of my pot. Same thing, I'm going to pull up and pretty much straight up. I want to mimic the shape of the last pot. I don't want the top to be too wide because it's got to fit on top of it. Also, if you make the bottom part too thin, when you apply the top section, it could become too weak and not hold itself up. So you don't want to make it too thin. So you take your other pot and you're going to flip it over so that you can see how close they fit. So that would be a good fit. So I'm going to take the top here. I'm going to make a dent that will kind of take the corner that I made on the other one. So I'm going to take the other one, I'm going to flip it over, I'm going to put it in that joint, I'm going to take needle tool, and go underneath, and I'm going to cut the bad off now. Now the two sections are on top of each other. Kind of center it up, and then I'm going to put my hand through the top of it. Let's see if we're still in camera here. So I'm going to push through the top. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to squeeze these together so that they become connected. I'm going to go back and forth on the inside and outside with my fingers to make that connection as tight as I can. Then I'm going to shape it like I would any other pot. Now as I shape it, like I press it out, the seam can open up, and it most likely will. So I want to make sure that I'm applying pressure to it as I push out and cleaning it up as I go. That's the one problem with section pots, is that there's that tendency for that part where you connected it to come back and haunt you. So from 2 little pots, you can make a much larger pot. Now I did this wet. There are other times that you can do it dry, or leather hard you would attach them. But for smaller pieces, you know, under like 10 pounds total, it's just as easy to do it with 2 wet cylinders. So also, because this was thrown upside down, this top section, the bottom part here is usually thick, and you have a lot of chance to play with edges and lips and things that you might not do when you're throwing normally. So in a previous video, the lips and rims video, I did a lip that was, I don't know what you'd call it, like anti-splash, and those can be used as a decorative lip too. So I'm going to kind of even this up, bring it up, let's level that again. Then I'm going to pinch below, press down, it's going to flatten that lip out, and then underneath I'll give it a couple more distinctions. And then below that I'm going to separate the neck from the rest of the body. There we go, we got a vase.